provided in this podcast should not be considered medical advice. We encourage all listeners to consult their healthcare professionals for medical concerns. Thank you. Hi, and welcome to the premiere episode of AS InfoShare. My name is Enrico Bolanino, and for the premiere episode, I just want to keep it nice, short, and sweet. I just want to explain what the show will be about, what we will be doing on the show, and kind of go over who I am and my condition, and explain why I wanted to do the podcast, and what I hope to bring, and what I hope to kind of get out of it, and what I hope to give to the community. So first, let me just tell you what the show will be about and what kind of stuff I want to do. I want to be able to interview some guests, rheumatologists, orthopedics, physical therapists, nutritionists, and get the information from the professionals and bring it to the Spondy community. And also talking to those with the disease and how they cope with it and their experiences and their journeys and also their success stories. So I think that will help give people some inspiration. There's a lot of people out there with inspirational stories, and I hope to bring them to the podcast as well. The other thing I really wanted to do was discuss the news and updates about the latest treatments, things that are going on in the medical community related to ankylosing spondylitis. One of the big things is always discussing diets. You know, everyone talks about the foods, inflammatory foods, what's good, what's bad, the myths, and try to talk to different people and get into all of that and see what we come up with. And also coping techniques, how certain patients cope with the disease, what makes them feel better, what works for them, medical treatments, therapies, physical therapies, exercises, like I said before, diets. And again, the key thing is that with ankylosing spondylitis, it seems that no two conditions are the same. Everybody's kind of unique. What works for some may not work for others. So, you know, it's always best to work with your doctors to get specific treatment for you individually. But this will give a general idea of what's going on and maybe help you raise some questions that you could bring up to your medical professionals. So who am I? I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis. For as long as I can remember, I always had back pain, probably since I was about 16 years old. I remember having some pain. I went to the doctor. They told me I had scoliosis, and there wasn't much treatment. There was basically just back brace and exercise that they told me to do. And they never really looked into ankylosing spondylitis. I've never even heard of this until I was diagnosed with it many years later. So throughout my life, I've had back pain. It came and went. Sometimes it would be around for like a month where I was in pain, couldn't get out of bed, couldn't walk. Then I would do something and I would feel the pain for maybe a few hours. Sometimes an aspirin or an Advil or something would help alleviate those type of medicines, any kind of NSAID. But it just kept coming and going, and I've learned certain triggers. The way I sat might have done something, an exercise, moving big objects. So I kind of avoided all of that stuff. I've kind of avoided lifting heavy things and staying away from certain activities and making sure I sat correctly. Sometimes even just sitting in a new seat at work would trigger something, so I had to make sure that I had the right seat. Like many people these days, I sit behind the computer, and I had to make sure that I was comfortable. Now, I haven't had back pain in a long time at that point. I was doing really well, but in 2019, I really started feeling tired, heavy fatigue, and my joints were getting stiffer and stiffer. I thought it was stress related. I was working on a big project, and I thought maybe the stress of the project was causing me to be real tired. I figured, after the project was done, I would rest and get back my energy. And then COVID hit, and I got COVID, and I was one of the lucky enough to be one of the early ones to get hit. And I was out of commission for a good week, 2 weeks. And then since then, I was in pretty bad shape. Now, whether COVID had anything to do with it or not, I don't know. But because, like I said, this was all starting way before I got COVID. So I don't necessarily want to say that COVID had anything to do with it, or if it added to it, or if it brought it out even more. I don't know. But I was really feeling fatigue, brain fog, joint stiffness, and I went to doctors, and I was going to doctors for a whole year, different doctors, all kinds of blood tests, all kinds of stuff, until finally they diagnosed me with ankylosing spondylitis, and that was it. And then I started taking medication. First one was Enbrel. It seemed to work. I did feel better. I wasn't feeling great, but I definitely was feeling better. The brain fog went away. The stiffness was still there. Then we switched to Humira at one point, and that didn't help me. And then I switched to Remicade, which seems to be helping as far as inflammation levels, but I still have the joint pain, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get rid of the joint pain at this point. But like many people, we're still trying things out. And when I say one medication didn't work and one medication did work, again, like I said, everybody's different, and that's what I've been reading, and everybody has different results with different medications. So that's basically it about me. And what I've gone through. So the reason why I wanted to do this podcast is a couple of reasons. One is because I wanted to learn as much as I can about the disease that I have. And they say the best way to learn is to teach. Now, I won't be teaching, obviously, but I would like to get people on who can help explain the disease, professionals that can help explain the disease. I would also like to do some research and then try to understand it and explain it. And then the other reason I'm doing this podcast is because in my profession, I've worked in TV as a television producer for broadcast TV, but as many people are seeing now, the industry is changing. A lot of things are going to digital media, YouTube, podcasts, social media, and I wanted a project to help me learn all of these new outlets and learn the new media as my industry changes. And this was going to be a good project for me that I could really wrap my hands around and start learning. We did a YouTube channel called AS Info Share. We have a Facebook page, also AS Info Share, Instagram, and Twitter. And now we're hoping to do a podcast and hopefully have some success. So in addition to that, I wanted to meet other people with the disease and kind of see what they're going through, see what helps them, learn about the disease through them, learn about what works for them, get some inspiration, bring some stories out, meet people, and really connect with people who are going through the same thing that I'm going through, and try to bring all of these people together so that we can all kind of exchange notes and exchange stories and kind of help each other through this podcast. This podcast I'm hoping to put in various locations. If you follow us on Facebook, AS Info Share, if you find us on Twitter or Instagram, I'm going to try to have links to the podcast. The podcast will hopefully also be up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and eventually we'll try to put it up on as many platforms as we can so that you can access it easy enough and in a way that you can enjoy listening to it. So that's really it for this first episode. Again, I didn't want to get into too much. I just kind of wanted to explain it, and then as we go on, we'll bring on some guests and do some other educational and fun stuff, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And there'll be ways for you to comment, let us know how we're doing, let us know things that you would like to hear about, and hopefully we can bring that to you. Thank you for listening, and hope to hear from you soon.